anaconda was found during a soccer match.
Somebody kicked the ball out of play. They went after it into the long grass. And there was this snake just sitting there.
This 12-foot anaconda is capable of squeezing a child to death and could swallow prey the size of a dog. Although the head looks small, an anaconda can separate the two sides of its lower jaw, enabling it to engulf animals with a much greater girth than itself. A 20-foot anaconda could swallow a man. But confronting one at any size is something I'd normally avoid.
Acho que nessa posição mesmo tá bom para pegar, né?
The snake has to be caught and relocated, and I've talked the fire department and myself into an impromptu training exercise.
Tente não deixar ele se enrolar no seu braço, okay?
Just looking at it up close now, it's in the process of molting its skin. The scales are falling off.
Even the layer over its eyes is peeling off, rendering it temporarily blind. It makes up for this vulnerability with added aggression.
Yep, that's a little bit of a strike.
To catch this anaconda, I have to grab it behind the head. A moment's hesitation, and it could turn and nail me.
Right, I've got it. I possibly need to grab it a little bit closer to the head. And what I want to avoid it doing is getting its body around my arm, because if that happens, what can happen, it can actually restrict the blood flow, and my hand will eventually go numb and then let go. I can see the teeth on the mouth. They're like the barbs on a fish hook. They're pointing backwards. Basically, if that bites you, it's going to be very hard to get that off.
It keeps trying to throw a coil around my body. Its instinctive follow-up to this is squeezing the victim to death. It's a struggle to stop it from wrapping around me. I can feel my arm start to weaken, so before the anaconda gets the better of me, I drop it in a transport container. It'll now be taken deep into the jungle and far away from any people to be released. For the fire department, it's a regular occurrence.
He's just saying we've got to watch out. This is good habitat for anaconda, but there's also likelihood of vipers, venomous snakes down here as well.
Overnight, it's shed most of its skin. It now looks very different. It's much hotter than yesterday, so this anaconda will be much more active. I have to be on my guard.
Oh, it's coming. Já está chegando.
Before it escapes, I want to feel how strong it is today.
I'm gonna try and grab. Fica fora.
It quickly has me in a vice-like grip.
What I need to do somehow is actually transfer hands, pull this one out, and then I can let her go safely. Oh, there we go. Right, this hand out. Look at that. I'm trying to release my hand. She's absolutely got that, She's totally wrapped around it. Okay. There. Right, her head is extended. I'm just going to put her head down there. There.
Once released, it makes a dash for the water, where anacondas feel most at home. And the reports that I've been hearing suggest that this potentially lethal animal is prowling unsuspected right under the noses of tens of thousands of people. Bull sharks are top predators in warm coastal seas all over the world. But they are also able to survive in freshwater, which makes them trespassers into my territory. Because I could hook something more than 3 times my weight, I'm using some serious tackle. From enormous forged hooks to the strongest line I've ever used.
And we use the best harnesses to take the load off our back. How's it fit, Jeremy?
That feels good.
When we hook up on these big sharks here, we have a spotter on the back of our harness. We use the belts. We have a little handle on the back, so when we hook up that first surge, I mean, you could easily go in the water. During the daytime, people use those little stretches of beaches in the river, and people on rafts playing this and that. And when the sun goes down, the whole life ecosystem changes. That's when the sharks move into the shallows. They feed on stingray, they feed on mullets, and it's a whole different world at night.
That is a fish on. I'm leaning into this.
Although my reel is nearly on full drag, the fish is still able to swim off with ease. But the heaviest line I've ever used is still just about holding out.
Look at that! I might just come over it. Whoops.
It's clear I've hooked a giant. But this is no shark.
Fish's beach now. Just gonna go in there and grab it.
It's a Goliath grouper.
That is just a massive grouper.
After a 20-minute struggle, it should be worn out, but it appears this beast has only just started. As it thrashes, not only do I have to be wary of the giant hook in its mouth, but also the spikes along its back.
Get this out. Hook's out. That is a beast. The length is
83 inches.
69.83.
About 69 inches.
That's just shy of 7 feet long and over 5.5 feet around. At this kind of size, it's going to weigh over 350 pounds. But they can grow even bigger, to over 600 pounds and 8 feet long.
I could feel it as a heavy fish, and it was also taking line against a very heavy drag. But what I was expecting to see when it came in close was a big dorsal of a bull shark. And then these spikes break the surface.
Fish markets usually provide me with information. With none around, I head instead to the fish processing plant. This place is where all the salmon from the surrounding area are shipped in, but this year, something worrying is happening.
We're actually getting some salmon unloaded off this truck here. There've actually been so few salmon in the river this year that the only fish coming to this plant are actually trucked in from the mouth of the river.
This is the main employer in the area, so it offers the best bet for finding some information about the monster. But instead of finding answers, my suspicions only deepen. People are friendly enough, but again, no one seems to want to give anything away. Just what is going on? So once again, I use myself as bait to try and gain their trust. There are fish off the factory's dock, but I'm not seeing any monsters.
It's not quite. It's a bit roach-like, about 4 or 5 ounces. And that was caught on a hook with a little bit of silver paper attached.
Finally, the plant's manager tells me of a fish that lives just off the dock. A fish big enough to destroy fishermen's tackle, so it's never been caught. I take up the challenge. If this story is right, I'm not taking any chances. I'm using my monster rod, a wire trace, and line with a breaking strain of 200 pounds. This place would certainly appeal to a monster, an easy, vast and ready supply of fish scraps to feast upon. But with all this free food, will it find my offering appealing?
Right.
It's another surprise.
I'll try and swing this in. Basically, putting a lump of dead fish out by the waste chute at the fish factory. And I'll just see if I can just swing this in. That's a catfish. That looks incredibly like a Wells catfish, but Wells catfish don't exist out here. But that looks like a very close relative anyway. Wells catfish grow very big, 200 pounds or so. If these things grow to that kind of size, that could be the culprit. That could be the fish we're looking at.
I've caught giant Wells catfish from the River Ebro in Spain. Fish so big, they nearly pulled me into the river.
So this is a predator, and the reason it's hanging out here, I guess, is because of all the food, all the dead fish. And with the annual run of salmon every year, I don't know, it's possible that this species could grow to an interesting size.
It turns out that there are two species of catfish living in the Amur, and one is potentially a true river monster. Called the Soldatov catfish after a famous Russian fish biologist, it's said to grow to a similar size as those infamous Wells catfish from Europe that I've investigated before. But very little is actually known about it. Recently, I've been getting reports of monster catfish sightings at the Bagnall Dam in south-central Missouri, which is at one end of the Lake of the Ozarks. It's a treacherous place. The lake behind the dam is statistically the third most dangerous stretch of water in the United States. It's a deep, liquid black hole where bodies regularly go missing. Could the large number of missing human bodies be linked to the reports of supersized catfish? And what's interesting to me is that this is not some tropical jungle. We're talking about a body of water here that is right in the heart of the developed world. I need to start fishing as soon as possible, so I meet up with Steve Brown, who knows these dangerous waters well. The dam here is home to three types of catfish: the flathead, blue, and channel. I've never caught any of these before, but I'm interested in the two largest, which could grow to man-eating size. I've taken the unusual step of fanning out 4 rods to maximize my coverage of the water. Using this method, I get a barrage of bites. But keeping track of 4 active rods is a challenge. Despite my best efforts, I'm only landing small fry.
We just want to find a bigger one, that's all.
Over the next few days, I carry on fishing. The bites come thick and fast.
See how greedy these things are?
But there's no sign of a giant.
Still well short of the size we want.
I decide to try a trick I learnt on a previous adventure.
Got deep water here very close to the side. It's a very steep bank there, that just continues. And about 25, 30 yards out, there's actually, it's the old riverbed. And remembering back to Wales catfish in Spain, get a bait in the old riverbed, that was always productive. So hoping that the same thing here.
This plan seems to be working. I get immediate interest in my bait.
Yeah, that's a good fish, that's a good fish. Shallow water, it's dashing, it can't go down, so it's going side to side. That was within minutes, seconds even almost, of putting the bait out. Keep it away from that other line there. Getting some side strain on it.
Unlike yesterday, it seems that the big fish are now on the move.
This feels exciting. This is good size. I can see, oh, see the flank of that. Oh, yeah. Lovely, lovely. That's a good size. Slacken off the drag a little bit. Where's the net? Oh. Lovely, in the net.
This one weighs in at 58 pounds.
Ah! Oh, yes. Oh, gosh. People think catfish are ugly, slimy scavengers, but I mean, this fish is just a muscular predator. And there's a big mouth on here, very capacious mouth. And there's no teeth as such, but I can feel, well, it's like lots and lots and lots of very close set points there for gripping. If they do grip something, they don't let go. But, yeah, lovely fish.
These rows of tiny teeth would be ideal for gripping onto a human corpse underwater. And like alligators, catfish can spin, which would allow them to rip flesh or even limbs off the body.
If we went over the back, yeah, close to 4 feet. 8 inches across the head, a good 6 inches.
Scaling that up to the size of catfish that Tim saw, the mouth would be big enough to fit around somebody's head.
There are big fish in this lake. That would be frightening to actually bump into that in low visibility. You know, you literally don't see it until you're a couple of feet away.
The kappa, the creature in the water whose preferred victims are children.
Japan's most infamous river monster, the kappa, has been accused of horrifying crimes for centuries.
そうくん、気をつけてね。わかった。
Although strong enough to kill cattle and horses, its preferred victims, children. Descriptions of the kappa vary, but the common features seem to be a wide mouth, a long body, and mottled skin in shades of brown and green. And it is always associated with water. Often taking its victims completely unawares. It drowns its victims and sucks their spirit out of them. Mr. Toshimoto accompanies me on my hunt. He has been studying the Hanzaki in this river for the past 30 years. He knows their habits and where to find them. But not only that, Hanzaki are a protected species, so if I wasn't assisting Mr. Toshimoto in his ongoing study, I wouldn't even be allowed to get near them.
This animal has sharp teeth that will cut my fingers if they actually went anywhere near its mouth, so I've got my bite-proof Kevlar gloves on. Got to go down with this underwater camera, just try and see if I can find one, see where it is, and then go down and try and grab it.
At a waterfall, he tells me he has caught Hanzaki here in the past. It's a good place for them to hunt. There are plenty of fish here. I try the other side. The current is surprisingly strong, and I'm not entirely sure what it is I'm hoping to confront. But I think I've hit the jackpot.
There's one down here, or it might be two. There's a tail sticking out, about 4 or 5 foot down in the water, but it's right underneath this rock. It did move, as I came past, it did sort of shuffle further in though. But you understand, the problem is, I just have the tail, a little bit of tail sticking out. So hold the tail, grab tight.
Okay.
Okay, so grab tight, and then in the net. Okay.
I have caught a Hanzaki, better known as the giant Japanese salamander, one of the largest salamanders in the world, and the creature that I believe is behind the Kappa legend. They get bigger than this, but wow, this creature is aggressive, even though we mean it no harm. The good thing is that these guys, unlike fish, are just as at home on land as they are in the water. Pretty soon, he calms down.
That is a Hanzaki noodled. And I'm very pleased that even with my gloves on, my hands stayed away from that mouth. He wasn't too amused by the fact that he was just pulled out of his hole like that.
Mr. Toshimoto is monitoring the health of the Hanzaki population along this river,
It's nearly 10 pounds.
measuring, weighing and micro-tagging every one of his catches,
Counting all the digits, all normal.
so that when he recaptures them, he can build up a clear picture of how this incredibly rare animal is faring in the wild.
Best part of a yard long.
And now we have collected a new one for his study.
This is an animal that hasn't been caught before. It doesn't have a chip in it, so that's a really good capture. Normally I wouldn't be allowed to touch this, but the fact that I'm acting as Mr. Toshimoto's assistant means that I'm able to work with this animal.
There are only a few pockets of these endangered giant salamanders left in the wild, these creatures that haven't changed since the age of the dinosaurs. Their survival is an important part of Japan's natural heritage. I never expected that I'd be fishing in a quiet residential area for fish that have been branded worse than piranhas. I'm in South Florida, just a few miles from where snakeheads first showed up. To catch one of these alien invaders, I'm using a lure that imitates live prey. Most baits and lures, you've got the hook exposed, but here, if a fish grabs it, that's what happens. I hook up with local guide Alan Zaremba, an experienced snakehead angler.
Very nice.
Look at that.
Oh, there's one. Oh, no more.
First cast, and the frog had a huge lump of salad with it as well, and the fish went for meat and veg, but didn't hook up. That was a hit and a miss.
That's another snakehead. The problem with the snakeheads, when they attack, you get one shot at them. They don't come back for a second shot.
But what do they eat? I mean, it's not just fish, is it?
They'll eat anything that's moving that they can ambush.
The adults at least appear to be lone hunters. They're not swarming in packs like piranhas. But as I work the banks, it's clear that these canals are crawling with snakeheads.
Oh, yes, what? Ah! And there was a hit.
There was a hit, there was a hit.
Take another long cast up that way.
Yeah.
Maybe he's got some amigos here. Good shot.
Are these fish still part of the first wave, I wonder? Or has an invasion already become an occupation?
They're here, and they're not going to stop them. You're not going to stop these fish. They seem to love these shallow areas, especially when you get some weeds piled up so they get up underneath the weeds.
Did you see that?
No, let drop. And set the hook.
That is a fish on.
That one came out right from the side, didn't it? That came out 4 or 5 feet. This wake just arrowing out.
I've hooked my first snakehead. And what it lacks in size, it more than makes up for with attitude.
There we go. That's it. Oh, a bullseye snakehead. So now I've actually got my hands on one of these things, I can see why it's called a snakehead. Very long, thin, but still muscular fish. I think very often, fish which are long and quite snake-like, do give quite strong fights. And this particular one is called a bullseye snakehead. It's got this eye spot on the tail. Have a look inside the mouth. There we go. That's definitely the mouth of a predator. All those teeth there. And it's not just smaller fish that it eats things like frogs. I mean, that's what I was using, an imitation frog, but also things like lizards, rats, even small ducks.
Soon after they arrived here, snakeheads caught the imagination of filmmakers. The alien invaders were cast as slithering assassins, as superfish that could somehow crawl out of the water and attack dogs, or unsuspecting humans. It's easy to dismiss this movie monster as pure fantasy, and yet, remarkably, much of it is based on fact.
Some of the traits that the media picked up on are true. The fish can survive out of water. Some of them can move over land. They do have high levels of aggression.
Does this mean that snakeheads could, under certain conditions, become the backyard predators of our nightmares?
If there's one place where I'm going to find out just how big the Wells catfish grows and how potentially dangerous it is, it's here, the Rio Ebro in northern Spain. The fish is introduced, it's been here a little more than 30 years, but in that time, they're catching fish bigger than I am. I mean, they're growing massive. So, although part of me is a little bit dubious about coming here because it is an artificial situation, I'm also quite excited because I think that's a very good chance that in the next few days, I'm going to see a seriously big fish on the end of my line. There are 3 reasons why the Wells catfish are growing so big in this river. It's a mixture of man-made and natural. For a start, you've got 3 of these huge dams, and it just means there's so much more water, more space for the fish to live in. On top of that, this water is hot. The fish, being a cold-blooded animal, can just feed and grow for more months of the year than they do in Eastern Europe and in Berlin. This place was stuffed with fish anyway, particularly carp. The anglers are coming in, they're throwing in huge amounts of bait and just sending the whole system into hyperdrive.
Such fish are a massive lure to fishermen from all over the world.
There's a story here about Wells catfish regurgitating a cat after it was caught, and nobody actually saw the cat taken, but I think it could have been a dead cat that was floating on the surface, a bit like this dead puppy here. So, I mean, these catfish, they will eat anything that falls in the water, and it's fair game. It's how they pack on the weight and reach such enormous sizes.
If I'm after a man-eater, I need to catch, at the very least, a man-sized fish, one that falls on the fat side of 150 pounds. It's time to rig up. Rather than casting, we drop our baits over 100 yards out, just short of the sunken trees along the flooded river channel.
Take up the slack.
Then, with the high-tech alarms set, I can enjoy the Spanish sun. And now we wait. This is not my preferred fishing technique. I like to feel the line, be in contact with the bait. But Wells are not delicate feeders. And besides, it's hot here.
Yes, here.
And it's about to get hotter.
That's taking line, that's taking line. That's taking line.
This is my first super-sized Spanish Wells.
Get a bit of speed on.
And immediately it feels seriously big.
It's physical stuff. Whoa.
serious burst from that fish when it first took. It's actually taking line when I struck. Dude. My forearm is almost cramping up. So good sign. We've got a fish, and that is a big fish. As I can bring him back. Yeah. I'm moving on the other side.
These Spanish whales are hunting in broad daylight. They really are breaking their programming. And these fish even seem used to being handled. My first fish is 140 pounds and measures 6 foot 9 inches. If these fish are putting on 10 pounds a year, then in 20 years, this already massive creature could weigh as much as 340 pounds, more than double its present size. And if they do live until 80 years, I'll let you do the maths. The only thing that will restrict them is food. But there is one food supply here that is in huge quantities: other catfish. The whales is not just a man-eater, it's a cannibal. The huge quantity of fish here makes it vital to millions of people. More than 3/4 of the country's inland catch comes from this one lake, which is known locally as Cambodia's beating heart. And it's not long before stories of pufferfish attacks are coming thick and fast.
He says not only are they here, people are getting bitten, they're getting bitten all the time. On average about 5 people a day, and he says in the last couple of months, this particular season, about 100 people.
These people are all too familiar with the pufferfish menace. When I ask, they agree to let me join them for the rest of the day.
This guy, he's just shown me what looks like a very fresh bite. Sometimes they bite through the net. If you're handling them and you're not very careful, they'll bite you. They're in the process at the moment of just paying out the net. One of the 2 boats just pays that out in a circle, and then gradually they'll gather that in. And the bit that I'm interested in is seeing what has become concentrated in the middle of that net.
The pufferfish aren't the only things around here that bite. These murky waters are teeming with aquatic hunters.
We have a snake in the net. That was actually underneath my feet. I could actually feel something moving at some point. I just assumed it was a fish.
And it's become clear that I'm not here just to watch. Retrieving the net requires getting into the water.
I didn't actually realise that this was going to be part of the deal. Sign language, I was just told, get in the water.
If, as I now suspect, the pufferfish are biting in self-defence, then corralling them in a net is just about the last thing I should be doing. I'm starting to wonder if I'll be the next victim.
Something just got me, something just got me. I don't know what that was. I think that could have been a catfish spine or something.
With the net freed from snags, it's time to haul it in and find out what we've caught. There's a huge variety of fish, but only one of them interests me.
This is something different. This is something different. This is the fish, they tell me, that's been biting people here.
Behind its harmless appearance, this pint-sized animal packs some vicious weaponry. This is not a fish to be trifled with.
Just being very careful here. Just hoping it doesn't move suddenly. But I can see very clearly now those mouth parts.
Now that I've got one, I want to test its bite.
Oh! That was a very graphic demonstration. That's almost cut that fish in half. It's actually gone through the backbone.
This fish has a piranha-like ability to slice off bits of flesh in the blink of an eye.
And look
looking at that triangular wound, I'm left in no doubt that if any part of me were to touch those jaws, it would just slice clean through. To try something unusual and construct my own lure. By cutting a piece of squid into this shape, I can replicate the wriggling movement of the other lures, but with the addition of a natural scent. This could appeal to the catfish's superior sense of smell. The fish are a little bit sort of wary at the moment, and I'm thinking something that moves right but also has the right kind of sense coming out of it could be successful.
But finally, something takes the squid.
In the ordinary way, I'd be very pleased with this fish, but it's just not what I'm here for. These are still hungry. The catfish just aren't putting in an appearance at all.
There's one area where catfish have been consistently spotted, but it lies on the very channels that were used to feed the reactor. So important is the need for a specimen that the authorities have made the ultimate exception, granting me permission to fish on the very arteries leading to the heart of the reactor. But being this close, can I catch that fish before I reach my exposure limit?
My alarm's just gone off. And this isn't, and again, and again, and again. And this isn't because of anything, any dust on the ground or a localized hotspot or anything. That's our sound recorder's just going off as well. The reason this is going off now is because that is the nucleus of the whole place. That's reactor number 4.
I don't have much time before I reach my limit, so I'm switching up to heavier, more robust gear. This is my last day. Time is ticking, and so is my dose meter. My body is being constantly bombarded by radiation, and I'm teetering right on the edge of my time limit, when finally, I set the hook.
Yeah. It's a fish, a fish. I need the gloves.
Until this fish is analysed by Dimitri, I've no idea how radioactive it is and what risk it poses to me.
So this is it. This is the Som. Long, dark, tapering body shape, the wide head, slimy skin, tentacles, teeth a bit like a worn-down brush. Yeah, absolutely positive ID.
I'm finally holding the biological black box I've been searching for. I may have caught bigger, but never a fish as extraordinary or significant as this. Dimitri's research will later reveal that far from being the mutant giant of science fiction, this Chernobyl catfish is under half the normal size for its age, its stunted flesh harbouring 16 times the usual level of radiation.
So I came to Ukraine to investigate stories of a fearsome water monster living in a remote, rural corner of the country, only to find it long gone, the victim, as is so often the case everywhere, of relentless human progress. So how strange that I should find this fish here, the site of the world's worst radiological disaster.
But to do that, I need to learn some specialist techniques from an expert in catching big sharks.
Hello there.
Yeah,
You Terry? Yeah.
Terry.
Nice to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you. I'm Ben.
Hello there. This all looks like pretty serious stuff.
Yep, well, for our rods and reels, we'll be using one of these. Nice
Right.
Tiago 80s.
Completely blown away with the idea of using, needing to use that in a river.
These guys are serious. I'm impressed. They're fishing in this busy working port on the frontier between sea and fresh water.
I mean, one thing I'm noticing already is attention to detail.
They've got a comprehensive plan to outwit the super-sensory capacity of this shark. Bull sharks, like all sharks, have tiny pinholes on their snout called the ampullae of Lorenzini, used for detecting electrical fields. They're so sensitive that they can detect the electrical impulses of a fish's heartbeat. Sharks with wider heads, like the bull shark, have more of these pinholes, and therefore they can lock onto prey more accurately.
Another one there?
To avoid giving off any electrical signals to the shark, Terry masks all but the metal hook point in plastic and cable ties this to the eel.
Beautiful.
Next, Terry's making sure he capitalizes on the shark's smell sense by using fresh bait. 2/3 of this shark's brain is devoted to sniffing out prey. And by fishing at night, we're choosing the most likely time for sharks to go hunting. It's in the dark when the supersensory bull shark has the edge over fish that rely more on vision. Terry begins the journey across the river mouth to place the baits. Bull sharks have been reported to ram kayaks, taking the paddle splash and rudder movements for the thrashing of a fish in distress. Terry's okay, but in getting these baits set in the dark, I've injured my index finger. It's going to make things difficult. I'm just hoping that this and the disturbance from the busy port doesn't damage my chances.
Pick it up, pick it up.
At 2:30 a.m,
Fish, aren't they?
with the tide high, the line begins to run.
In the heart. No, off. It's all right. Yep. Shuffling down. At the moment, it just feels like there's a boat on the end. It's just a dead weight. I'm just changing the ratio there. Yeah. Yeah, that's pulling, that's pulling, that's pulling. It is coming my way.
And with nearly 200 yards of line taken in, whatever it is reaches the shore.
What is it?
That is huge! One of the best fish I've ever seen, mate.
This monster is not what I expected to catch.
Right, to me, James. It's not a shark, but it is an exceptional fish.
It's just remarkable.
That is something, isn't it? Oh, I've never seen anything like this in my life before. It's what they call a Queensland groper. This is a monster. I mean, it's not the monster I was after, but this is a monster.
Look at it. 6 feet and 3 inches.
What about the girth?
Yeah.
2'1". Its girth is 4 foot 3 inches. 4 foot 3 inches.
This is a protected marine fish, normally found on reefs, but they're known to come into river mouths like this on rare occasions.
Look at that. This fish, even Terry and Ben haven't seen anything like this anywhere like this size, you know, so it's just an amazing catch, and particularly from a river. Just, you know, this thing really is a river monster.
It's then I hear of a second attack on a guy named Bill Murray. Bill is working in his dock. He's cutting off some reinforcing bar that's jutting out from the dock wall. A half hour later, he climbs out.
I wasn't in any pain or anything. And I looked down at my foot, and out of the center of my foot, there was 2 streams of blood coming out. It was down to the bone.
Could it be that creatures from the open ocean are hunting in these man-made canals? The type of wound often gives a definitive clue, but this injury is like nothing on my radar.
So what was the water clarity like, and what time of day?
The water wasn't crystal clear by any means. I would say it had about 10 or 12 foot visibility.
So anything like this that you're aware of happened in this area before?
So, still to this day, no.
So, low light levels, poor visibility. I think whatever bit Bill mistook his light-coloured foot for a fish. And whatever it was, it had to be pretty serious size. It had half of his foot in its mouth. Now, I've looked in the water up and down here, and I can't see anything bigger than the bait fish that he was describing. So, what on earth could it have been? Barracuda are fast, explosive predators armed with 3 rows of razor-sharp teeth, 2 rows in the upper jaw and 1 in the lower. They are said to grow to 6 feet in length and weigh 100 pounds. But can barracuda get this big in these shallow coastal waters? That is what I need to find out. Having spoken with Evan and caught the juvenile barracuda, I know these visual hunters are fast, both in the water and out. Then something nearly pulls the rod out of my hands. This one feels bigger still. Could it finally be the big barracuda that's been eluding me?
This feels like a good-sized fish. I'm guessing it's about 30 foot down.
And I'm struggling to bring it any nearer to the surface.
Oh, it's still hanging. You can see the leader, so there's the fish. There's the fish. There it is.
It's the proof I needed to see with my own eyes. A huge barracuda.
Size of this. I've been thinking I've been catching big ones, one after another, and along comes this. No, those aren't big ones. This is a big one. It's just unbelievable. The teeth, the power, the streamlining. This would absolutely lacerate a limb, and I reckon one like this, at speed, out of the water, hit you in the side. Perfectly possible this could break your ribs. It's a tired fish as well. I want to get it back in the water.
Wearing protective rubber gloves, Jonathan shows me this by hooking one up to a bank of LEDs.